Hey everybody, welcome to the Have Ditties, and as you can see, we did not upload any more vlogs since Vlogmas is over now. I am going to share some stories from now on. Just coming up, I have a lot going on. I am finishing up my last semester in college. If you would like to fast forward to the actual story time that the title says, then I will put right here what time that is that you can fast forward to it. But I did want to give you an update to what's going on in our channel from now on. I will be doing story times probably only once a week because just with everything with going to school, I'm going to be taking 6 classes, and that's the biggest load that I have taken so far, and so I want to make sure that I am committed to that and I don't get stressed out about not getting any vlogs up or anything like that. So there's not going to be I'm going to be posting once a week, either a story time, which most likely it will be, or a vlog of something we did that week. But I do love YouTube. I love the community it creates. I love watching other people. But I do want to share some of my stories. Most importantly, I want to share my 4 pregnancies. I had a miscarriage, and I had then a singleton, twins, and then another singleton. So today's story is going to be about my miscarriage and what led up to that, and then what happened just a little bit past that. So me and my husband, we were married in December of 2005. So this is going way back. We just celebrated our 11th wedding anniversary, but we're married in December 2005. And the birth control I was on gave me a lot of weird side effects. I didn't share this with a lot of people, but I was just like dead to the world. I didn't have any control over my emotions. Something sad would happen and I wouldn't be sad. I guess I knew that I should be sad, but I wasn't sad. Like, I couldn't cry. You know, I was happy and I would laugh, but it was just sort of like this going through the motions. So I totally stopped birth control. And at that time, we knew that we could get pregnant, but I didn't really like prepare for it. So I wasn't doing anything special for myself. I was just like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. So fast forward to June of 2006, I realized that I hadn't started my period yet, and I decided to take a pregnancy test. This was June 18th, 2006, and I found out that I was pregnant. I was scared. I really don't remember a lot because, I mean, it was over 10 years ago now, but I just remember being really happy. And a little bit, I mean, I was only 20 at the time. I was going to be turning 21 in August. And so I was really excited, and Matt and I were really excited as well. But so we told people, because, I mean, who thinks that you're going to have a miscarriage? And honestly, I was 20. I didn't really read up about, you know, hey, this is the time that you should tell people, you know, this is the safe time. I was just like, hey, I'm pregnant. Wow! So we told people. I told my parents. We told, you know, his parents. We were so excited. Matt was a pastor at a church at that time. We were so excited. So, of course, the next step was to make a doctor's appointment. And honestly, I had never been to an OB. When I got like my previous physical exams and stuff like that, it was with my family doctor. She just did that, and I mean, it was routine, so it was just, they just did it. So I didn't really, and plus we were in an area that we had no family. Like my family at that time were 3.5 hours away, and I think Matt's were an hour and a half away. So we didn't really know, family that, hey, this is who you could go to. So we had a friend who told us, hey, I know this great doctor. He's amazing. And so you should go to him. So I was like, well, and I heard some other people talk about him. So I thought, okay, I'll go. And I booked an appointment with them, but around the time that they would like have your first appointment, he was going to be on vacation. So they pushed it back like 2 more weeks. And I didn't care, I was a little bit bummed out because I wouldn't be able to, see the baby and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, whatever. So at that time I was working at a bank, and I don't remember if I had to have told the people at the bank, but it was regular conversation. So June goes by, then my appointment was at the end of July. So July goes by, I was feeling nauseous, peppermint, those little peppermint candies were my favorite thing. I was craving, buffalo wings at Donato's. Shout out to you if you know what Donato's is. But I, everybody tells you, oh, if you're nauseous and stuff like that, everything's going good. And it really didn't even cross my mind that, I would have a miscarriage. My mom didn't have a miscarriage. I wasn't thinking that way. And I had no complications. Then the appointment came. And let me tell you, this doctor was amazing. He was the nicest, gentlest, I don't know, just spirit. I ended up delivering my next child with him. So we went to the appointment, and when you come for your first appointment, he meets with you in his office and goes over all like the history, all medical history of your mother and your father and his mother and his father, and any previous pregnancies, which at that time we had none. And so then he says, I can't even remember what he said. I think he even joked about it being multiples, but I can't really remember. 10 years ago. So we then went into the exam room, and he had told us that at the weeks that I was, which I can't even remember how many weeks I would have been. I found out June 18th. So I probably would have been 4 or 5 weeks then. And then, so he said, we're going to have to do the internal. So I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And so he did the internal, and he was looking around a little bit. And of course, since it was my first ultrasound, I didn't really know what I was looking at on the screen because I could see what was going on. Matt was with me, my husband, and so was another nurse, and then him. And he was looking around, and all I see is black and white right then. I don't really see anything else. And then he started pointing things out, and he said, well, here's the baby. And you could see this little thing. Nothing was going on. Like I said, I'd never seen ultrasound, so nothing was raised. Now, if I would have seen one now and I didn't see that flutter, I would know something was wrong. But at that time, I didn't know. I didn't know I was supposed to see something going like this. And so it was this little bean. And I do want to point out, I want to just remember this too. We used to call the little, the baby, we used to call it Little Bug. That was just what we called it from the moment that we saw. Shh, you gotta be quiet, okay? We called the baby Little Bug ever since we found out we were pregnant. So, we saw this little bug, this little baby, and he said, you know what, I don't see a heartbeat. And at that time, my heart sank. One, I was just sort of like confused, and two, sort of devastated a little bit, like, oh my gosh. And after that, he said, but I don't think you were just carrying one. He looked around a little bit more and he was like, here's another sack. Now, the baby was not, you couldn't see it, but he said, this is another sack. So you were having twins. And then he saw another sack and he said, nope, you were having triplets. My mind was blown at that point. One, I'm being told that I'm not going to be a mom like I thought it was going to be. And two, that I was carrying triplets and I had no idea. I wasn't even preparing my body for this. So he said, you know what, get dressed and I'm going to go out of the room. He said, we were crying and, it was like, I just met this guy. So he left and I got dressed, and then he came back in and he was like, you know what, can I just pray with you? I'd never been asked that, but it was such a blessing at that time. We had just heard that we lost our babies, and this doctor volunteered to pray with us. So he prayed with us and we then left. And I remember sitting outside the doctor's office, just crying, bawling my eyes out, because I'd just been told that my baby that we were so excited about is no longer going to be with us. But not even that, our 3 babies were not going to be with us. They had scheduled like an ultrasound the next day to verify with the hospital. So we had that appointment, and then we called our parents telling them, I had a miscarriage. There were 3 babies. They just couldn't survive. They think that the one just took everything, and then that one just still couldn't survive. So we went home and we told everybody else, just devastated. And then we went to the ultrasound, like confirming ultrasound the next time. And when they did that, he was doing the whole thing, like he would measure where you could actually see the baby. He measured the baby and then the sac, and then for the other, like he kept going to the other sac and he would measure that sac, and then he went to the other sac and measured that sac, and then so that was the triplets. But then he like was searching around a little bit more, and then all of a sudden, here comes this another sac. So I was not just pregnant with 3 babies. There were 4 babies, quadruplets. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I honestly was like, is this real? Like, it was the weirdest thing. But here I am, 20 years old, not, treating my body like I want to become pregnant. So I become pregnant. I'm not taking folic acid. Nobody told me to do that. They told me to go pick up some prenatal vitamins, but I barely remember to do that. I wasn't eating before the pregnancy. I wasn't eating the best, before I found out. It was just, I was young, not expecting to get pregnant right away. And I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't taking care of my body for 1 baby, let alone 4 babies. And so they didn't survive. And we would, accept visitors. People sent us flowers. People sent us meals. And I was just, I thought my dreams of being a mother I thought my dreams of being a mother were over. I thought my dream of being a mother, I was scheduled for a DNC a couple days after the news of the having the quadruplets. And I went in, had the nicest anesthesiologist. And that's the thing, like, throughout this whole process, I met the most amazingly nice people. I mean, people that were just like, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. You know, just really compassionate people. Maybe it was because it was a small town, you know, that small town feel, but it was just amazing. And I remember Matt was just as devastated as I was. And I was very lucky for the husband that I have. He's very compassionate, very in tune with, you know, the way I was feeling and making sure that I was okay. But I knew that he was going through this as well. So after the DNC was done, you know, I went to work a couple days after that. I had to take medicine for the pain, and I went back to work on a Saturday. I remember this, and I was taking this medicine and it made me so dizzy. I was taking this medicine and I could hardly stand up because it made me so dizzy. I wasn't really having that. I wasn't having that symptom before, but when I went to work, and I guess just because I was standing up all the time throughout the day, I couldn't even stand up, so Matt had to come get me, and here I am bawling because I'm thinking the only reason that this is happening to me is because my babies died, and, you know, all this stuff. It was just all this guilt. You know, of course I put it on myself. If I would have done this better, if I would have done this better, if I would have done this better, it would never have happened. But he told us that we could, you know, because it wasn't any problem with me, if we wanted to start trying again, we could. And that will be where the next story starts, because just 2 months after that, we got pregnant with our daughter. So I will be back in about a week with that story and that amazing journey to being a mother that can hold their baby in their hands. And I also want to tell the people that are going through a miscarriage right now, or have gone through a miscarriage, or, you know, talk to people, because I honestly did not know all the people in my life that had gone through miscarriages. So many people, after the news broke, you know, especially in our church, people would come up to us and be like, I suffered through that. I went through that. You know, I found out that a relative had that I never knew before. So just talk to somebody and know that you are not alone. Know that, but it's horrible. It's painful and sad. And don't let people be like, oh, it was just this many weeks old, or, oh, it was, at least you know, you didn't know what the gender was. No, it was still a baby. It was still a human being. They were still human beings. And to this day, 10 years later, it'll be 11 years this coming June, June 2017. 11 years have gone by, but I still think about, you know, what happened those days. And then when they would have turned 10, around this time, they were due the second week of February. It was February 8th. No, that's the day that my grandma died. Because my grandma died actually around the due date of when I would have had them. And so around the first week of February, that's when their due date was. And I think about oh, they would have been 10. I would have had 4 10-year-olds running around. I would have had to deal with 4 10-year-olds, you know, this year. Yes, that would have been, but imagine the craziness. What would they have grown up to be? Would they have been 4 personalities, different personalities, like my twins? They have 2 completely different personalities. Is that how they would have been? Would they have been girls? Would they have been boys? Would it have been a mixture? All these thoughts go through your mind, and it's okay to think that way. It's okay to remember who they could have been and be sad about it. I will never forget the time that I had with them. They were inside of me. They were alive, but then they weren't. I hope this is encouraging to people that are going through it. I also hope that if you know me, now you know a little bit more. I do want to make these videos for myself, for my kids to look. I also want it for when they get older and they can see me telling the story, because maybe I won't remember those little details. I'm probably not even remembering every little thing that I can now because it is 11 years later. But with these next couple videos, I hope that I can give my kids, you know, little snippets of what happened during the time that I was pregnant with them. But I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, you can click that thumbs up. That just helps me know that you like it. And also subscribe so you won't miss the next coming stories. I will be uploading once a week. Today's video might go up tonight, which is Thursday, or it might go up tomorrow, depending on editing. So I hope you have a great day and a great night, and I will see you later. Bye.
You like potato chips?